Hey, happy Wednesday. Welcome. And you are on the Heart of Success show. And I'm your host, Larissa Vakulina. I go live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. South Australian time zone. And I speak here about success, the heart of success. So a lot of us consider success only from the point of view of accumulating wealth, authority, admiration, possessions, materialistic stuff, and we consider success as that narrow concept that would provide for us all of these outside values that we believe that we need to have in our life to be happy, to be joyful, to feel fulfilled and great. But reality shows that concept of success from that point of view is very narrow and very limited. Today, I'm going to talk about full potential. What is your belief about your full potential? We all have potential of genius. So this potential based on the interconnectedness of our multidimensional full anatomy. I'm talking about different dimensions that we are, that at this stage not fully understood and recognized. So in the basic terms, these dimensions are spiritual, emotional, psychological, mental, physical. There's a bit more deeper division of these dimensions, and the full anatomy is a little bit more comprehensive. But in a nutshell, we have this multidimensional nature that is holding all of this potential of the genius, which we at this stage of our evolution not fully using and not fully realizing. So when we focus out of all these dimensions only on one or two, which is in our society is acceptable right now, which is we develop in our mental dimension, we develop in our physical dimensions, we try to understand how emotional, psychological, spiritual dimensions are interconnected to how we live and work, how we do business. And we only at the first beginning entrance or the first step to be able to tap into these areas and start to see how deeply these dimensions are interconnected. It doesn't mean that if we don't see these dimensions, that they don't exist or that they're not affecting our lives. It's because these dimensions are functioning on a band of different frequencies, on that vibrations of the subtle energy that our senses are not able to see. But of course, we can feel it, we can sense it, we can perceive it. So at this stage of our societal acceptance and our societal development, we all are paying attention to our mental development, and we pay a lot of attention to our physical bodies and our physical health. But we kind of still in a very infant state of how we perceive and consider spiritual dimension, emotional dimension, psychological dimension, mental dimension, how they all functioning together and how they interconnected. Imagine that when we create something, we have this energetic wave of creation process. And imagine if two or three or one dimension of who we are is absolutely not looked at or blocked or distorted or for some other reasons not functioning. So we basically live and create and do our businesses and live our lives in a very crippled, one-sided way. So that one-sidedness of only using one or two dimensions of who we are creates a lot of conflicts and discord and suffering and pain in our lives, because we cannot really fully feel our happiness or our joyfulness or our peace in our lives when we actually not involve all the dimensions of who we are. So the full potential is the integration and activation and direct communication between all of these multidimensional parts of who we are. And if this connection or the communication is crippled, distorted, or completely broken, well, then, of course, we only utilize a few parts of who we are, and of course we create limitlessly or in distorted ways. So we cannot access that potential of the genius that we all have. So I just want to really share with you something very interesting. It is related to the topic that I'm talking today. Is that today I read some kind of news. You know, we have this feed of the news every day, and what caught my eye is that there was a small news about one little girl. She was only 8 and she applied to be a student at the Moscow State University. Imagine, this is the child, 8 years old. She applied for the Moscow State University to become a student. So she passed all the exams that the high school students needs to pass in order to be able to be applying for the enrollment, and also all the exams that are being required to be passed to become a student of that university. And imagine what she passed it all with distinctions. And while she was doing, she became 9-year-old. So this is the only one and the first record of a child of 9-year-old become a student at the university. So to me, this indicates that we all having such a limited perception of our own abilities, potentials, and that genius that we all hold. We don't know how to access it. So that child accessed that, and many talented and really great geniuses of the history, what they doing, they basically have cracked the code, I would say, of how they use their own multidimensional nature that holds that full potential of the genius to be able to express in the creation and in the reflection of what they creating in their lives. So that's an interesting example. So example of even regardless of our age, regardless of our environment or cultural or the family traditions, we have that access to that potential of the genius. But for the reasons that we still perceive ourselves in a very limited way in terms of we using only the mental and physical. The emotional dimension is something that we start to look at, we start to explore this space, and we start to see and agree and accept that emotional state is affecting our mental state. When we have this interconnectedness, we have these emotions that create the psychonoetic thought forms, that these forms, when they given a lot of charge, create our reality. So I know in my very long ancestral culture of the Rus Vets, they've been living in and perceiving themselves as a relational and imagery beings, and they use their imagery capacity to create the psychonoetic forms that then become reality very quickly. So they could manifest their own reality and express the genius in a very quick time span, and also in a very effortless manner. So as opposed to what's happening with our development and where we are at now, it seems like emotional spiritual dimensions are a little far behind of our development of mental and physical dimensions. So I would like today to give you three very practical tips that you can start to contemplate on the full potential and the potential of your genius, and how we can finally activate and start to utilize everything of who we are, and how we can then become limitless creators. We then can become a highly potentially amazing creators of our own lives, and also helping and affecting lives of other people from that place of the genius, from the place of that full potential that is full alignment and connection with all these dimensions. And so there's no surprise why in our society right now we feel like we are not so capable, or we are not so able. There's a lot of doubts, there's a lot of fears, there's a lot of questions, and questions about, like, can I do that? I can't. There's a lot of beliefs within ourselves, about ourselves, that we're not capable of doing something, or I cannot do it. I am not able to. I just don't believe in that. So I just invite you to change your belief about your full potential, about the potential of your genius. We all have that part that is genius, and that part needs to be aligned. So first step is to recognize and accept that all of these dimensions are vital and very, very important for our harmonic development. And if we only focusing on one or two of them, that's really is a one-sided development, which then of course show us the result of our life, of our pains, of our conflicts, of all the creation that sometimes we say to ourselves, well, that's not what I wanted to create. I always wanted to create happiness, beauty, acceptance, love, some benefits, but for some reason it's not happening. So we need to look at all these other dimensions that are not involved in creation of our life and reality. So first point is accept and recognize that those dimensions that are still out of your focus and out of your attention is so important to start to accept, start to understand and learn about it, and integrate into your wholeness. So the second point is that invest in learning about your full potential into all dimensions, not only mental or physical or the emotional or the spiritual, where I can see and observe there's a lot of people now going fragmentally to do that spiritual retreat or that emotional intelligence course or things like that. It's a little fragmented, and it's a separated pieces of information that sometimes doesn't really create a full picture of how these dimensions are connected and how they functioning all together. So the education, knowledge, and understanding of all of these dimensions needs to be in a little more integrated way, which I'm trying to create in my the Askara method with my 6 modules that I'm creating and developing and designing, so that these dots are all connected together and there's no gaps between the different dimensions and knowledge about them and how we can connect to have that full potential of your genius to start to be activated and start to be functioning in a full sense. So the third point I would like to say to you is that the skill of learning about your dimensions and also using all of these dimensions is not only that mental concept, it is experiential life skill that is gonna to be constantly in the moment now with you, and how you navigate using all of the parts of who you are and tapping into that potential of your genius with the trust and with that connection to the higher parts of who you are and or the Godhead of who you are. At this moment in our human evolution, so many people are completely ignoring that they have this part, or denying it, and they denying so much potential of who they are and not involving these parts of who they are in the creation of their lives, in creation amazing businesses and products and services, in creating and accumulating the wealth, health, the wellness of yourself and your families, your businesses. So this is something that needs to be paid attention to. And the third point is that I want to tell you that this is a life skill and it's a process. There is no destination where you can just make and do that particular course or module or retreat and you will be arrived at that point of that full potential that you can start to utilize in your life. So, but the starting point is to firstly recognize it and accept it, that that's who you are. And this is very important. Once you recognize that you are much more wider, deeper, more powerful than that what you are taught in your childhood or what we are told in our society, in that limited, narrow perception of who we are, well, then you are on a road and you are on a track to start to explore this new belief and this new perception of who you are. And then you are on the road to start to find the place where you can connect all these dots that can help you to create the belief and practical tools that then you can integrate it and use in every step of your life, in every moment of your life. And by doing this, you can create peace, joy, happiness. You can create free flow of creative energy and creative impulse through your dimensions, that they will start to reflect into the outside world in a much more pleasurable and much more integrated and not distorted way. Your creations then gonna be from that genius place. So I would like to finish today, and also thank you guys. You here, MJ. You here with me, and I'm really grateful that you here, you commenting on while I'm talking, and thank you so much for that. So once we tap into our genius, the sky is the limit. Absolutely. This is like, we know this saying, but for some reason we sometimes not understanding how that genius works and how we can actually start to connect to that genius place within ourselves. But this is the journey and this is the process. Once you make that decision, I'd like to know more about what is here within myself. Where is my genius? Where is my gift? What if I can create amazing things? And what if I can connect with that place? How that would be felt? How is that would be experienced by me and by other people? So thank you for someone here. I cannot actually see your name here. It says to me a Facebook user. Before you actually jump to watch my show, I just would like to go through the link and find that link where you need to give permission to the StreamYard to be to your name to be displayed while I am talking. And thank you for saying to me, you love my work. Well, thank you so much. I do my best to understand myself first and try to share my realizations and my own breakthroughs and my own style of life. Oh, Jacinta, thank you. I thought that maybe you. So I try my best to be able to show others that if I could go through the deadly disease and heal it myself, then anyone can do it. If I can create an amazing things like with 40 hectares of land, creating programs, healing practice, and helping other people, well, then you can. And I still don't know if I tap into my genius, but I know that my life and my feeling and my experience is that I am happy, that I am well, I am joyful, I'm having pleasure of creating different things. I'm having pleasure of living my life. In each moment, I'm enjoying it. So this indicates that I'm doing something right, and that this indicates that I can possibly help you to do the same, and I possibly can open up some information or the experience that may touch something within you that can activate these places within you that also can become healed. They can become activated. They can become free to receive this creative impulse and wave that you can transform into amazing creation. So I would like to finish today at the conclusion today's show, I would like to read you one of the quotes of Robert Anton Wilson. This is the person that was a creator of the concept of reality tunnels. He is working with a consciousness and create that concept of the reality tunnels that each being on this earth is having a certain tunnel of their reality or the consciousness that we create. And well, I wouldn't go to this concept. I would just encourage you to maybe look up Robert Anton Wilson and have a look by yourself of his work. Thank you. I just need to drink water. This message is really encouraging for me, and thank you so much. Jacinta, you plan on pioneering this work along the people like me. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's what the best reward I can have when I see people that are interested in the concept of the multidimensionality of the human being and start to look at and start to educate themselves and start to really pay attention and focus on the self-development, on the self-love and self-growth and maturing emotionally so that we individually can go through this and pioneering and helping others to catch up. So the last quote is that I wanted to share with you is this. This human herd all started out as potential geniuses before the tacit conspiracy of social conformity blighted their brains. All of them can redeem that lost freedom if they work at it hard enough. I have worked at it for 50 plus years now and still find parts of me acting like a robot or a zombie on occasion. Learning how to become what you are takes a lifetime, but it still seems the best game in town. So I would like to leave you with this and start to contemplate on your own personal full potential that is still unrealized, is still unblocked. But I invite you to start to invest evenly to all dimensions of who you are and not only one-sidedly, because when you only pay attention to one part of who you are and denying or not believing that you have other parts, you live very limited and crippled life. And then the pain, the diseases, the discord, the suffering will catch up with you inevitably, because when we're not realizing our full potential, this is the signs we're constantly receiving from the universe. So yes, that work was the Robert Anton Wilson. I will just put that on a comment area here. His name is Robert. Robert Anton Wilson. So you can maybe, Google that and see he is having the theory about reality tunnels. Thank you so much. And I would like to leave you with this, and we'll come back again next Wednesday at 2 p.m. South Australian time with some other topic that may help you to dive deeper into this amazing creation of the whole grander creation, you. Thank you so much, and I would like to put some music.